All right, it's recording.
All right, so what we're always going to do each time is just go over the chapters that we read, just to make sure we're up to date, and go over especially some of the questions, because they're a little bit harder questions. You can just sit down.
I was making sure it was
Okay.
focused.
So chapters 1 to 1 of the questions that we asked was, think about the different actions of Mr. Tumnus. Tumnus claims he is a bad fawn. Lucy says he is a good fawn. What do you think? Give some examples. So what did you think? Is he a good fawn or was he a bad fawn? Joe?
Both.
Both. Why? Explain.
He's a good fawn for probably saving Lucy's life,
Okay?
and he's a bad fawn for not listening to the queen.
Anybody else? Was he a good fawn or was he a bad fawn? What was your opinion? You all wrote it down, right? So we'll pass that now. Unless you didn't do the question.
I did it.
Okay, so Faith, you have an idea?
A bad fawn.
You said bad. He's just pure bad. There's nothing good about him. Why?
I've seen the movie. He's a
Because
great guy.
he didn't let them the life wet.
Okay. All right. So obviously, as you talked about, there's a lot of symbolism. So we'll come back to this, guys. There's a lot of symbolism, okay, in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that C.S. Lewis is using. And obviously, that's the same thing for us that we have in the world: is are we good or are we bad? Well, we do good things, right, like Mr. Tumnus does. But at the same time, our sinful human nature wants us to do bad things. So there's a reward that we might get for. So there's always a striving, like we said, between good and evil in this book. So Mr. Tumnus, he sided with the witch to do a job for her, but he realizes he shouldn't do it, and he does the opposite. He helps. So there's that struggle between good and evil, okay, that we get in here. So we're going to watch that as we go along. Okay, this question, some of you had some pretty insightful answers, as well as you had some questions. Mark 10, verse 15 says, "Verily I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as a little child, he shall not enter therein." Based on this verse, why can't the other children go into the wardrobe the first time and find Narnia? What'd you put there, Jesse? You forgot already. Emma.
Because the older you get, the harder it is to believe things that won't really happen.
All right. For example, just in the world around us, we had talked about, or I think I used this example maybe with Courtney or something, but, okay, a little 2-year-old, you might be able to convince that there really is a tooth fairy, right? But could I convince Katie there's really a tooth fairy? I couldn't, okay? You guys don't believe, Grant, you think there could be a tooth fairy?
There is.
There, okay? So again, like a little child, they will believe whatever story you tell them. So just like if we went down, so my example I used to Courtney is if I went down the street down here to a neighbor's house that's got some little kids at home, okay? And I knocked on the door, and the adult came to they let me in, and we sat down, and I said, "Hey, can I tell you some stories?" And I told them stories from the Bible, miraculous things that was done, okay? The virgin birth, the creation of the world, and then just all of the miracles that Jesus did. What is that adult who doesn't believe in the Bible, what are they going to tell me about those stories, Nicole? Yeah, you're just telling them a bunch of stories you made up. However, if they have, again, a little 2 or 3-year-old in that house and I tell them those stories, those same stories, what are they going to probably think? Garrett? Yeah, they're going to think, wow, those are some really cool stories. And they believe what I told them because they have faith like little children, okay? And that's what Christ is saying here. So that, again, is some symbolism that Mr. C.S. Lewis is getting through here initially. Lucy is, of all the ages of the children, where is Lucy ranked? In the ages of the children, Jesse? She's the youngest, okay? So she goes in, and she can go ahead and go into Narnia. But when she comes out and her brothers and sisters get there, they doubt her right away. They don't believe it. They think it's all made up. And they don't see in there. Okay? It's when they're not even thinking about it that they begin to have those further experiences where the rest of them go into the cupboard, okay, or get in the wardrobe, not the cupboard, but the wardrobe, and they go in. So that's, again, Mr. C.S. Lewis is trying to make that point here. Unless you need the faith of a little child to believe that this land of Narnia really exists. Okay? So that's some more symbolism that we're looking for there. Okay, this question, we are often like Tumnus in that we have preconceived notions about other people. Describe an experience where you prejudged another person only to find that when you got to know them, your judgments changed. We all do this, right? When somebody comes walking up to you, you're immediately, what is your brain doing?
Being like extra nice or like, I don't know.
Yep, you're always in it. That's what we do. We profile people. Okay, we all do that. Someone comes walking up. Well, I profile them. Is it somebody I should run from? Is it somebody that I should be scared of? Is it somebody that's going to be nice? Is it somebody who, we base it on their outward appearance. We base it on their skin color. We base it on the way that they look. Okay, maybe their walk. Maybe what they, if they came in a vehicle, what type of vehicle did they come in? So we profile people all the time. The problem is, are we always right, Nicole? No, sometimes we get surprised, okay? And so we need to be careful about that when we're profiling people. So hopefully you could think of an experience where at some point in your life, maybe someone was going to come and you went maybe to some, maybe you went to visit some Protestant Reformed friends of your parents, and they had kids and you've never met them. And you profile them as you first walk in, and then you think, well, this is going to be either bad or it's going to be good, and the opposite happens. You find out, I thought this would be horrible, but hey, that's pretty fun. They're a pretty cool person. They're pretty interesting. Okay? Or we see all the time in the world around us, like someone comes walking in and maybe they say, yes, I can, I'm going to sing. I'm going to sing you a song. You go, this guy's going to sing a song, whatever. And then they have a very beautiful voice. Or maybe you're going to play a game, and some kid says, yeah, I'm a pretty good soccer player. And looking at them like, yeah, right. We're gonna. And then all of a sudden they're pretty good. Or maybe you do that against another team. You think, boy, yeah, we got a pretty good soccer team against these guys. They don't have a clue what they're doing. And then they beat the pants off you 9-0, right? Or the opposite happens. You're like, man, this team is they're gonna cream us 14-0, and ends up being tied. You're like, hey, we did pretty good. So we always make preconceived notions. We make judgments based on things. And so that's something that we need to be careful of here too. And Tumnus does that about Lucy. Okay? And finally, this last question here, Mr. Tumnus sets out to betray Lucy to the White Witch because he's afraid. Have you ever agreed to do something even when you knew it was wrong just because you were afraid? Describe the situation and how you felt after you did it. So again, what we're talking about here is you guys maybe are playing on a Friday night in the middle of summer and some kids come over and they say, hey, let's do this. And you know it's wrong, but you're afraid that they're going to make fun of you. They're afraid they're going to make fun of you. Okay? Or you're afraid they're going to tease you or mock you, laugh at you. So you do it anyways. Okay, that's what we're looking for here. And that's what Mr. Tumnus set out to do. He set out to do something that he knew was very wrong, to turn her in to the White Witch. And in the end, after he got to know her, he did it. Okay? So that's what we were looking for there. I saw some good examples that you guys gave. Okay? A few other things that were just interesting. What war is going on? Based on the time period, what war would you say is going on in the world? So these kids being attacked by air raids in London. Garrett? It was World War II. So they've been moved out of the city of London somewhere out in the countryside where they believe it will be safer, okay, for the children to live. Do we know what their parents' jobs are? Or why they were sent away other than to be safe? We don't. That's the curiosity of it. Okay? Now, there's a little bit of humor involved. What is the humor involved in the fawn's thoughts about the name? What does she think Lucy came from? Remember? It's the name of it. Joe?
Daughter of Eve.
No, he calls her a daughter of Eve because it's a human, but Garrett?
He comes from the land of Spare and the kingdom of Wardrobe.
Right, spare room, but he splits it up. It's called spare And yes, war and then drove, two separate words. So he obviously doesn't have very much of a clue. And then it was also funny here, C.S. Lewis puts the names of books on the shelves, right? And what's the last name of the book? Well, it's Is Man a Myth? So why is that humorous? Garrett?
Because you don't see humans in Narnia.
Right, people in Narnia, there's always been stories and there's been fables, okay, like it might be for Katie, you know, she might have on her shelf, you know, a book titled, Is Santa Claus Real? Okay, or is there such thing as the Easter Bunny? Well, we know those are myths, they're stories, they're made up, they're not real, it's something that the world uses. But that's exactly the humor that C.S. Lewis is man a myth. So now the fawn, Mr. Tumnus, can say, well, it's definitely not a myth. Okay? So we are up to chapters 3 and 4. I did a little bit different, obviously, before. If you wanted to have the book read to you, you can go to that web page. And let me show you that up here. I changed it up a little bit, made it a little bit, because we would like you to be able to follow along in the book while you are listening to it, right? And we couldn't do that. Now we can. We fixed it up.
I got it yesterday.
Oh. Well, now we've got it all fixed up here. Okay. Oops, that's not what I'm looking for. Down here, the video recordings or the audio recordings of each chapter. So we had 1 and 2. Those were on YouTube. Well, I figured out another way so that now what you can do is you can come here to chapter 3, and if you click on the over here, if you click on the download, what's going to happen is this is going to happen. It's going to turn. Well, mine's going to be a little bit different, but for you, it will turn the page completely black. Okay, and it will play it, and then you can close the page and then go over to. So we'll demonstrate that here in just a minute. So those are there. Okay, let's go over the chapters 3 and 4 just again to clarify what you need to do. Okay, there's the vocab that again, it says quiz on the top, but it's not a quiz. That's just what it calls it. Okay, but it's not a quiz. It's just a regular vocabulary assignment, so you are allowed to look those words up. Chapter 3 and 4 questions, those are those deeper thinking questions, so you can do them online. If you don't want to, the exact same questions are down here. Print them off as a PDF, or download them in Notability right on your iPad and then send it to Dropbox, okay? Or for those of you that are here, send it or hand it in. Chapters 3 and chapters 4, those are some different worksheets. The first one has to do with classifying word groups. Is it a where, when, or how? Just like we worked on in language, you know, for adjectives and adverbs. And then the chapter 4 one is classify it, you know, which one doesn't belong. So the examples, silly, foolish, sad, and funny. Well, silly, foolish, and sad all have to do with comedy. I mean, silly, foolish, and funny. Sad does not. Okay, so cross that word out. So that's what you do there. You can print those off. You can download them in the Notability, do them, and email them to me. Okay. But let's go over. I'm going to disconnect this here and quick show what you can do with the iPad. Joe's going to be a regular cameraman when he grows up. All right, so let me get the iPad up there. That. And now if we go to the website, mine is not. Which wardrobe, and I want yes one. Google site. Let's see if this brings it. now we're up here. But what you can do on the iPad, okay, is if we go to the audio recordings of each chapter, and we're up to chapter 3, so click on the blue download button that you see down there, and it will download it on here. Okay. Now one nice thing is you could take this with you. Okay. But anyways, it starts playing here. And then, oops. It will start playing. So right now it's playing, and then you can close this app, okay, and then you can go into your Kindle, okay. And while it's playing, you can follow along. Whoops. Now, one thing that you can do that's nice in the Kindle is you can pause it way down over here. And if you can see that down there, you can hit that pause button while it's playing, and it will pause. Okay. And then one thing that you're supposed to be doing is writing down dictionary definitions of words you don't know, right? Just write down a vocabulary word that's maybe English that you don't know that you can come back to later. And also you got to write down each of the characters, and we'll do a character analysis of them. So here now you can be following along and reading. Okay, it's playing it, and you can listen to it while you're reading it, following along. And then if you need to stop it, you can just quick pull that up, hit pause, and stop it. Write down the word that you just came across. You can spell it correctly. Okay, so you don't have to listen to it if you just want to read it on your own. But your assignment for Wednesday is to read chapters 3 and 4, and then do those assignments: the questions, the vocab, and the worksheets. Okay, so you got to have that done for Wednesday. So we'll give you a little bit of time here to get that done. Okay. You can stop the recording.
Oh, so I just press this gray button again?
Right.
Goodbye.
We have to write down all the characters.
Right, as you come along. So far we don't have very many, right?